Okay, Assalamualaikum. Good morning. Salam sejahtera. Okay, for Eva 514, we proceed for the next chapter for this week, week 9, for ethics and environment. Okay, for learning outcomes, I hope at the end of this chapter, I hope all my students can explain about environmental ethics, the concept of environmental ethics, the process of the environmental ethics, how you apply environmental ethics. Next, you can discuss the approaches of to environmental ethics. Then you can explain the importance of sustainable developments. For this one, we will focus on SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, first we go to environmental ethics. Okay, environmental ethics actually is a part of philosophy. It's considering the relation of human beings and the environments. Okay, the idea first introduced by Aldo Leopold in 1915 from the essay The Land Ethics. Actually, environmental ethics is practical ethics offering an understanding to general duties and values to the nature. Environmental ethics actually is a system for determining the corrections action with regards to the natural world, either in the specific situation or as general approach to environments. Environmental ethics believe that humans is a part of the society as well as the other creatures such as animals and plants. The creatures are important to human beings in the others to become functional. It is actually essential for human being to deal with others on it by using ethics when dealing with their environments. So, as environmental ethics actually once you want to apply is very relates with human. Actually, you can ask to yourself how to apply environmental, how you feel to environmental. Is it you feel love with environments? So environmental ethics is actually into yourself. How do you apply? How you do um, how do you present your field to environments. Actually, environmental ethics study the ethical question. Like I said before, you need to ask about your field. You as a human, relation with non-human like environments. So how you act, how you feel, you present about your feelings into environments. Uh, you can ask what the things in environments is valuables, how and why they valuables, how we can out to consider this value in deliberations about the principles, actions, practice and laws. Maybe somehow you can relate to EQA, how that all the session in EQA 1974 relates to environments. They capture all the human parts and then they reflects to environments. All the punishment they can relate to human aspect. Therefore, action taken related to environment respond to what considerate value embodies principle believe it. Okay, environment ethics concern to human beings ethical relation with the nature environments. Central to environmental ethics. Okay, like I said before, the question you can ask, what does human have towards the environments? What humans have such duties as a human? Okay, you can ask lah, about into yourself, and then it's about environmental justice. Environmental justice, fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all people regardless of colors, race, national origin, or income, with respect to environments, implementation, enforcement of environmental laws. For Malaysia, we refer to EQA 1972 for policies and regulations. Maybe you can relate to EQA and environmental policy, relate to industry. So we have two categories for environmental justice. First, uh, distributive justice. Distributive justice is concerned the allocation of burden and benefit in the societies. For distributive justice, you can imagine it's like carbon trainings, carbon trainings issues. As you know, as a carbon training, for example, country A, they have overusing subsidy for carbon trading. So for country A, they need to pay for the others country already have the subsidy, extra subsidy for carbon trading, so they need to buy and pay for the carbon trading. Uh, so they need to have their responsibilities amongst their countries to carbon trading issues. That's an example for carbon trading. If you want to relate this distributive justice. Then second one is participative justice. For participative justice, you can relate. Actually, the concept is involvement of those affected by decision in the making the decisions. You can relate, for example, for Kampong A, for example. They have a decision. Maybe uh, they want to build some industry in their kampong, who knows, kampongs, so they want to build some industry, so that industry can affect to the communities. Even though they you must know, once industry develops in one areas around 500 radius, they can affect to environmentals. For example, maybe pollutions, emissions, water pollutions, air pollutions, and so on. So maybe that industry become a positive side and negative side. Pros and cons. So they need to make some of discussions among their communities. So any decision they make can becomes side effect to their kampung. So they need to have a checklist. The pros and cons when some of the industry develop in their kampungs. So from that, they need to make a decision making. So that's what we call it as a participative justice. They need to have a meetings among their communities, and then they make some of decisions and make a decision making. So next is the values. Okay, somehow as a ethics, they have a values. Of course, in environmental ethics, they have a values. Values actually is enduring a belief that influence choose actors and makes a from available means to achieve their desire in. Environmental ethics is all about the values. Of course, once it's a little bit like a bias once you want to make any decisions. So for environmental ethics, is automatically have a values when you want to apply for environmental ethics. They have two types of values in environments, for uh, intrinsic value and instrumental values. We go first to intrinsic values. Intrinsic values actually, the value an entity has in itself. Actually, for intrinsic value, automatically we as a human have that part of intrinsic values. So how is the environment valued intrinsically? For intrinsic value, we have a subjective intrinsic values and we have a objective intrinsic values. Okay, for subjective intrinsic value is more to humanly considered. It is a value for what it is and not what it is bearing in which it exists depending on human valuing. Then for objective, intrinsic value is not humanly conferred. Then for intrinsic value, you just imagines like something you need into yourself to interact the nature, how you interact to nature, how you feel about the nature. It actually it into yourself, into your heart. Once you interact to environments, how you feel. Is it you feel like to destroy the nature, or you feel to love the nature? Actually is uh, automatically into yourself, in yourself. For instrumental values, okay, for instrumental values, that actually the value that something has as a mean to a desire or valued in. It is actually derivative on the values of something else and always conditional. Instrumental value actually based on chance in the desirabilities of the means and depends on whether there is more efficient alternative and means available. Okay, next we go to approach to environmental ethics. Okay, the main debates in environmental ethics is about how nature should be valued. So how we need to judge for environments. So how we need to value it. Therefore, the approach to nature help the human in understanding the nature. Okay, for approach is a way how dealing with a situation or a problems. Okay, so we go the next concept in environmental ethics. We have a anthropocentrism. For anthropocentrism, we just need to remind the keywords. Is related to human. The basic approach to understand the nature morally as how nature is treat effort if effort human. It is human-centered perspective of the environments. Thus, human has domination over nature. Okay, it's based on human. Like I said before, anthropocentrism is related to human, human aspect. Anthropocentrism believes that value is human-centered and that all others beings are means to human ends. That's mean any anthropocentrism actions they relates to human, how human action, react to nature, the action. Okay, maybe for tutorial discussion, you can discuss more about the sample, about the example for anthropocentrism. Anthropocentrism. Next, we go to ecocentrism. For ecocentrism, the basic things you need to know is relate to environments, relate to nature. Any action, any we want to relate is more to nature. Okay, this approach is to understand the nature morally, as the nature has intrinsic value. And let's before this we have discussed about intrinsic value. Intrinsic is normal. We have into ourselves. As a human, we have intrinsic values, but is for ecocentrism, it is non-human centered view of the environments. Actually, it's more to a non-human centered view of the environments. Value in the nature is cannot to be reduced to what promote human well-being. According to Leopards, Leopard is actually our philosophers for environmental ethics. Is called for the essay before for land ethics, which is not longer consider human being as the only beings that matters. Okay, for the land ethics for from the leopards, he actually mention about the boundaries of the communities to include soil, waters, and plants, animals, or collaborative. Since ecosystem is a whole of interacting and the independence others, continuous or occasional, therefore attains right when it states to preserve the integrity, sustainability, and beauty of the biotic communities. Okay, for ecocentrism actually is related to one ecosystem, one complete ecosystem. As we know, one ecosystem have biotic and abiotics. Abiotic is something life, like plants, okay, what else? Animals, and abiotic is non-life, like stools, water, air. So in one ecosystem, we need each other. Automatically, uh, uh, actually it depends each other. Biotic and abiotic. So in ecocentrism, they need each other. So, for ecocentrism, this perspective is argue that species and ecosystem have an inherent worth and their good need to be taken considerations. That's why like I said before, one ecosystem, in one ecosystem, they need each other, biotic and abiotics. Okay, for ecocentrism, they claim that trees have a moral standing because they are self. That's mean you just look one, for example, that tree. For example, lemon tree. Just a lemon tree, and you see lemon tree. They have their own survive with, for example, uh, without any human aspect. It's just stay and with the lemon tree. They have their own Okay, next we go to deep ecology. Okay, deep ecology, the term first used by Ernest Nessis in 1973. Actually, for deep ecology, is variation within the perspective of ecotourism. Okay, deep ecology takes the holistic view of nature. Okay, for deep ecology, actually is ad- advocates a deeper approach to define the roots or causes of environmental degradations. Okay, the idea is that our environmental problems are deeply rooted in the Western cultures. Okay, actually, for deep ecology is relate to is part actually from ecocentrism. For deep ecology, you can apply like ecocentrism. You focus on nature. You focus on ecosystem, biotic and abiotic. For deep ecology, how you apply for the whole nature, it's becoming the effect to nature. So, for example, as a human, how has as a human you try to add to nature effect. For example, you destroy all the forests for the forestry. Or you make a pollution to the river. You make a water pollution. You have an industry, and then from the industry you go to air pollution, emission, and water pollution. So that they go to impact go back from humans, and then they go back to the nature. Okay, deep ecology believe that the well-being in the flourishing of human and non-human life on Earth has it as value, thus independence of the usefulness of non-human to human. That's why I said before. Once as a human. We give some the impacts to the nature. For example, you make some of pollutions, or you destroy forestry and so on. Okay, humans have no right to reduce this richness and diversity except to satisfy vital needs. And that's why once any developers want to develop any develop areas, they need to destroy all the forestry. So it's actually is becoming to effect to the nature. Okay, so next we go to ecofeminism. For ecofeminism, is more to identify the sources of environmental problems are in social practice. What I can say in ecofeminism is more to feel like a female, how like a female feel. It's more to loving, it's more to caring, right? uh, Very loving to environment. So how you want to apply that perspective to environments by feminism. We can give some the example how to you want to apply ecofeminism to environments. Then we go to ecology. Ecology, before this you have done class with Dr. Hidayana, principle of ecologies. So the basic things about the ecologies is more to interaction amongst living things and their environments. Interaction amongst biotic and abiotics, and is between living organism including the humans or physical environments. That's all the concept that about ecology. Then we go to eco, uh, ecology ethics. So as ecology ethics, so how you want to apply the ecological ethics? Ecological ethics limited abilities in identifying and clarifying the article issues, limited ability to prove the moral guidance to professionals in ecological research and conservation practice. Ecology ethics is a new norm of practice ethics. So, for it's more to technical. Ecology ethics is more to technical. As you know, for ecological ethics, so how maybe you can refer to some of the guidelines for environments. So how you want to apply ecology ethics can face the researcher, faced by researcher and practitioner. So as like for example, I giving to you like a AIA persons, environmental impact assessment, as a SHO or HSE, health safety environments. So how they apply um, to ecology ethics techniques. The techniques, maybe they can follow the guidelines or the equipment sample. So that technical aspect we call it into ecological ethics. This one is still new compared to feminism, deep ecology. Okay, then we go to ethics of the cost and benefits. Of course, once there are always conflicting values in environmental issues. So as a human, we need to know for our environments, everything we need to pay. Once you destroy any river or forest, you need to build up again. You need to clean the waters, even for water pollution. So they need a cost. Once you want to let's Malacca River, right? Malacca River. So they need to pay for makes a normal, makes a normal bag. So we need spend a lot of cost. So like forestry, once you're doing any destroy and you make developers for any house, right? So that they need to causing for that. So for ethics, you even though you apply for ecocentrism, you apply for deep ecologies, so you need to make sure all of that kinds not maybe we need to justify. We need to doing a development for that area, so we apply for deep ecologies techniques, deep ecology ethics. So how the pros and cons, and then earth charters. Then we go to the concept of sustainabilities. The concept of the sustainabilities, of course, the definition, the concept of sustainability is refer to the quality of being able to continuous over a period of time. So this one, the simple concept is sustainability is to our next generations, next generation sources, how we need to sustain now for the next generations. So we need to sustain our sources. Then the aim for sustainable development, the aim is to maintain the economy advance and the progress, protect the long-term value of environments, provides the framework for the integrations of environment policy and development strategies, like SDG. This one, the evolution of sustainable developments. The focus one. First, the cause of externalities. Pollution is inefficient use of resource. And then environments and economy is win-win approach, which is we need to know that sources for environments. We have a sources, water, forestry, and so on. So actually, for any developments, actually for our economies, generate our economics. So we need to protect also for our environment. So we need to win-win situation for environments and for economics. That parts. Okay, next is environments developments. Independency. For environments, of course, we have a development aspect and for environment aspect. So we need to combine, make sure development is still go on with a good environment. That's why once we apply for EIA, if EIA reports, once any developers want to develop their developments, they need to have a AIA for highway, uh, for industry. Even though they want to develop their developments, they need to have EIA report. They need to do EIA reports for environments, so that we as a DOE, they know their part, which is that developments can be in fact to environments, by research by EIA. From EIA report, they have done their questionnaire for SIA, social impact assessment. After that, they collect the data for equipment, for air pollution, water pollution, and then they they're doing a detailed EIA, detailed environmental impact assessment. That's why every developers need to provide EIA reports for proceed their developments. Okay, healthy environments such as clean air and waters are considered the public goods which are non-various and non-equitable. And okay, that's okay. I just want to focus this part for the pillars of sustainable development. In sustainable development, we has three parts. First, economic development. Second is social development. Next is environmental protection. For sustainable development, three elements: social, economics, and environments. For economics, we focus on consumerism. Uh, in economics, once the circle for supply chains, they have their circles, so they can be in fact to sustainable development. How? In a sustainable development, for economic parts, they have a supply chain process. So they need to using a practical or productivities using, which is they need to use practical equipment, practical productions, to make sure they have a good products. For consumerism, they need to choosing a good product, more to save energy. For example, now we have uh, like electricities, save energy electricities, right? You need to buy more to save our environment's products. And then for social developments, maintaining the basic resource to ensure quality of life, public participation on sustainability. Of course, for social development, you as a social development part, which is you need to have value, like I said before. In ethics, we need to have a value for environments, which is you need to participate into any program about environments. The simple things like a 3R program, 3R program, or as a go green, zero plastic bags. That's a social development, which is you need to involve into the any programs, any conference, you as a student, maybe you attend any conference about environments, that's a social aspect in sustainable development. At least you have a knowledge, for example, now you take a BEVA course, so that you have a knowledge about the environments, how to save our environments, how to be a good person to save our environments, that is a actually you actually a part of social development, for sustainable developments, then we go to environmental protections, so how, you need to concern, about technology driving greener future. This one to relate to economic developments. As a consumers in economy, you need to choosing a good production in environments. Same goes to environmental protections. Maybe you can apply, a good technology for environments, especially to industry, as an industry they need to have a be a part, to concern using a go green technologies, maybe they have their experiments or their development R&D, research and developments, for biotechnologies, to sustain our environments, biotechnologies aspect. Then we go to sustainable development goals. Before this, we call it as Millennium Development Goals, MDGs, right? And then now, the previous one, MDG. Now we have a SDG. SDG. We have a 70 goals, which is focused more to human beings, how to focus like our food bank, for health, education, okay, this one maybe you can see the pictures, for the poster, sustainable development goals for 17, 17 SDG. Okay, for SDG paradigm, we have three aspect for SDG, which is economy, social societies, and Earth life support system. For economy, like I said before, we need to focus on, for example, in Malaysia, we now our Prime Minister focus on B40 issues, especially for COVID-19 pandemics right now. So they focus on B40 communities, which is for B community more to B40 community. Our governments support a lot of economy part. For example, their internet, their educations, some provide money and grants and so on, for economy to generate their economies. Uh, and then for society, for SDG, they focus on society like such economy to generate. Say government provide a lot, for community and economy relate to society. They came back. Once we give, our government give some of the portion for like jaringan satu Malaysia, or bantuan prihatin, for B40, and then they come back to society, for economy, they generate to economy, and then they give back to societies, and then society Earth life support system, which is in our society, they give back to ecosystem. Support system is related to ecosystem, which is biotic and abiotic. Once like Malaysia, we have a good maybe government spend a lot of money, so we have a good maintenance to for our environments, which is we don't have a lot of issue into environment, unless river pollution, little bit river pollution, which is we don't have any issue about the human issues, which is we don't have any into river pollutions, which is for example area kampung-kampung yang berdekatan, which is dekat dengan sungai, they don't have any issue for pollution, like water pollution, which is not compare like India. In India they have that issues. Rumah-rumah yang berdekatan dengan sungai or river ni, dia have a river pollution issues, compared to Malaysia. That's why they relates to economy, society, and earth life support system. The circle is there, like a biotic and abiotic system.